Hey Scorpio, welcome to Key Wisdom Tarot. Ruth here with your brand new January 2022 tarot reading. First of the year, first of the new year. So we're going to do, as we always do, my darlings, sun, moon, stars. So the first row will look at your encounters, experiences and actions in the month of January. Our moon, Tiny's just come into the room. Our moon, he's got jingle bells. Hello, Tiny. Our moon will look at what's going on beneath the surface, what's driving your experiences and actions, and then the stars will be moving forward, outcomes, and the lessons, etc. that this experience is teaching you. Okay, so let's get started. Right, Scorpio, you're always the last reading that I do. Every time. That's why I feel like I can relax a little bit. So I've been saying on these videos for the new year about the weather and about how in tarot, that's what we're reading, or I'm reading the nature of now. So the weather today, as it is outside your window, is directly affected by the weather of yesterday. And the weather tomorrow, in the future, is directly affected by the weather today. And that's the same for you, my darling. So where you are today is because of where you were before. And where you will be tomorrow is because of where you are today. And so when I read tarot, reading the nature of now, the nature of your experiences, gives us an indication of the type of encounters you can expect, the kind of lessons that this cycle, or this path, or these experiences are trying to teach you or give you. I'm going to put this one at the bottom because it wants to be at the bottom, and it's this card here, Three of Swords. So you've got awareness full time coming for you, Scorpio. Awareness full time. What does that? That's not even a sentence, Ruth. That doesn't mean anything. Well, one of my favourite writers of all time, in fact, two of my favourite writers of all time, William Shakespeare and Roald Dahl, they made up a lot of words. Okay, they made up a lot of words between them. And I'm telling you, whatever word I just said, I'm entitled to make it up. Dramatic license, darling. Full awareness for you. And I'm like, ouch, because we all know that we know the swords about our conscious mind, our thoughts, etc. And this is deep rooted attachments that you have, or deep rooted sort of traumas that you've had in the past. They're not rearing their head again, but the experience of it is, the memory of it is, the understanding of the cause, the root of this pain, if you will, is here for you in the month of January. So let's have a look at this. So you've got the 3 and the 4. So you're taking some time out to feel, to respond. We it's been a tough couple of years. We've all lived through it. I mean, if you're listening to me now, you've lived through it. So we've all lived through it, and it's been pretty heavy going. And I suppose we don't really necessarily, sometimes we just live. We don't really sort of think about how it feels, but this is asking you to 100% do that, Scorpio. So it's giving you the opportunity this month to take some time out and to look at and to reflect on some of these structures and foundations with regard to your perspective and how you think about yourself, about your experiences, whatever it might be for you. It's about looking at how you think and why you think the way that you do. And this is the reason why you think the way you do. You know what that is. I don't know what that is for you as an individual, okay? This pain that you've been feeling or that you have felt, it comes from somewhere. And this is about you understanding how this pain affects your thinking, affects the thinking about yourself, affects how, and therefore, because it affects our thinking, Tiny, be quiet. Because it affects your thinking, it affects what you do, affects what you say, affects what you believe about yourself, etc., about the world. And so January is asking you, and to be fair, you're not the only one actually. There's another sign, I can't remember which sign it is, but they had like all lie down cards in. They had the hangman. It's just lie down in January. It was Virgo, so you know they got lots of lie down cards in their first row. Yours not quite so much. So you're going to be taking maybe some time to reflect on this. You know, what created this, what caused this, and not only what caused it and what created it, but how does how did this affect your thinking about yourself? Because you're grabbing onto something, you're holding on to something, you're learning something. This is what this tells me. It tells me that you're learning something, you're understanding something about this feeling, and about how this affects your thinking about yourself, how it affects your thinking, how it affects your actions, how it affects all those things I've already said. But this is the learning that you gain from this reflection. So you might take a week or 2 weeks at the beginning of the year to kind of pause and to reflect and to kind of allow the impact of something that's happened to you in your life, however many years ago that was, to understand the impact of that event on you. You're going to take some time out to learn, to listen, to reflect on that in January. And you're going to gain something from that. You're going to gain some knowledge, some wisdom, some understanding from that reflection. And it's going to allow you to release some of those emotions and to walk away from a really very challenging, for some of you, that has been challenging. It's going to allow you to walk away from some very challenging emotions or an emotional cycle that you've had. But the reason you can walk away from it, and it's emphasized by this card and the imagery on this card, the reason you're able to walk away from some of this pain is because you're acknowledging the pain. This is the acknowledgement of the emotions, the acknowledgement of what you've been carrying, the acknowledgement of the weight of what you've been carrying, the acknowledgement of the confusion of carrying this kind of pain and feeling this kind of way. This is you being acknowledging to yourself, you know, this is how I felt, this is how it's affected me, this is what it did to me, this is what I do now because of that, whatever that was. And the acknowledgement of it, in a sense, changes the experience of it, right? Because it's no longer the same. But you're left with this. You're left with, this is what you discover. You're left with, fours are about structures and foundations and things that we build. And this is what you're left with. This is what you're left with in order to help you. This is what you find. So you release a few things. You release some of the emotions. You release some of the sadness. You because you gain understanding, because you gain in wisdom. I want to see what this card is actually, because I'm quite intrigued now. For some reason, I'm very much drawn to that now. But I feel like you have... It's I don't know why that's such an odd... I want to say it. You've gotten something or forgotten something. Or maybe it's both. Maybe you get something to forget something. But the words were forgotten and forgotten. So it's that's poetic, isn't it? Gotten and forgotten. I am a published poet, by the way. Anyway, gotten and forgotten. But I just thought I'd let you know that. But that's very poetic, actually. Gotten and forgotten. Oh, beautiful. I was just want to go on a rant about Shakespeare now and about how when I used to teach the kiddies, I used to say to them, it's not about understanding the individual words. It's the same with Tantra. It's not about understanding the individual words or whether it makes sense. It's about how it feels and about how you respond to it. And sometimes, and I'm kind of stuck on this gotten and forgotten because there's something interesting or important or kind of weighty about how that came through and why that comes through. You know, there's a loss that some of you have been experienced, but there's also, which is unsurprising in the times that we've been living through, to be honest, but there's a loss that some of you have experienced, but you've forgotten something in the grief. You've forgotten that you got something from that grief. You've forgotten something. So this is an example. It doesn't, not a specific, but this is an example of what I'm saying, gotten and forgotten. It's like, you know, someone that you love dearly passed away many, many years ago. but this, and you have been devastated, or were devastated, etc. But they gave you something before they went. They gave you a token, or they gave you a book or something, and you've been so, in a sense, grief filled, that you've forgotten that they've given you this thing. You've forgotten that they wrote you this letter, or that they gave you this book, or that they gave you this trinket to remind you of them, or something. It's like that. It's like you've forgotten something that you were given at the time of this trauma, or around the time of this trauma, or because of this trauma. You had something. The trauma came, but something else came at the same time with it that was a gift. And you've forgotten that gift. You've forgotten that thing that you were given. For some people, very specific, I know, but that was what it came. Anyway, so this is what we discovered. So hopefully the thing that you've forgotten, by me going on about gotten and forgotten, you've remembered it by now, or you will remember it during the month of January, or this is you discovering because this is about structures. As I said, fours are about structures, and the ways that we think, the things that we do, the things that we create, the things that we need to feel secure, etc. There is maybe something that can help you feel secure. There is something that can help you feel more secure in this, whilst you're going through this experience in January of releasing, and of understanding, and of confronting, and of recognizing and acknowledging some of the pain that you have felt in the past. So let's look at what's going on beneath the surface, what's driving these actions and these experiences. Healing. It's always nice to see, look, right, healing, security, success, and this. And this is basically saying that there's something that you need to release. And you're holding on to too much. And it doesn't mean you've got two jobs, get rid of one of the jobs. It's like you're living... It's like, in a way, we live in the past and we live in the future, and it's very, very rare, unless you obviously practice it, unless you practice mindfulness, and that you live right now. And we think about, oh my God, like, am I going to get that done? I've got to do this next week. It's Christmas tomorrow. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Or we live in the past, where we go, oh my God, like he or she hurt me, or, that was really bad, or God, I can remember how awful that was, and da-da-da-da. And there's the you that's now. And you now are carrying so much when we're talking about this specific awareness of the impacts of a specific trauma or emotional event that happened to you. And you might be, some of it, as I said, some of you have got lying down this month. You first 2 weeks of the year, like, have a break. You'll have to have a break, some of you. But it's for your benefit, for you to recognise that you don't need to hold on to the grief or the trauma anymore, or you don't need to hold on to the impact of what that was anymore. This is, and when it's interesting with it being pentacles here beneath the surface, because suggests it's a creation. It suggests it's not a creation. It's real. It's something that you actually feel, that you feel not overwhelmed necessarily, but you feel the weight of that loss, or the weight of that trauma, no matter how long ago it was. But you've forgotten something. And even if the only thing you do is remember the word, or a phrase, or a sentence, something that they used to say to you, a song that they used to sing to you, or something, even if you just remember that, that's going to help to connect you to now, instead of the kind of just being in the trauma, or just being in the avoidance of the trauma, actually, of whatever it was, whenever it happened. Actually being here and now will help you, in a sense, to remember, which I know sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but as I said, like, you tell me how the weather today is going to affect the weather of next week. Well, you can't tell me, and you might be able to tell me. You tell me how the weather today is going to affect the weather of in 10 years' time. You can't tell me, but one thing that is absolutely unequivocally true is that the weather today is absolutely connected to the weather in 10 years' time. 100%, no doubt. That's absolutely unequivocal. And so it seems like there's this... Why I say that is because there is actually... What we mean by that is there's no separation between now and then and past and present and da-da-da. It's all you. It's always you, all the time. You just... the only difference is your level of awareness of what is you and what is now. This is you kind of coming to grips, getting to terms with some of those weighty kind of... You know, I suppose it's quite esoteric when I'm talking like this, but, you know, it's all... You're coming into kind of awareness of the kind of complexities of your own psyche and your own experiences and your own emotional self. You're coming into that awareness. And, you know, there is this support, in a sense, from you, from your higher self, your whatever you want to call it, your soul, whatever you want to call it, divine self, whatever you want to call it. There's this is you giving that call to yourself that, you know, maybe it's time now to do it. Maybe you're ready to do it, and it will be successful for you to go through this process, in a sense, to face up to things, to remember things, to release things, because it's leading you toward, yes, victory and news, good news, but also healing. You know, we've discovered with the star card, with the 1 and the 7, you know, the 1 of the beginnings and the 7 of mystery, but of wisdom. You know, we ask the questions with the number 7. We ask why. We look up and we ask why and how and where. And this is what you're doing. You're looking up, or you're looking within, and you're asking why and when and how and who and if and yeah, but, and all that. You're asking all those questions to yourself, and it's a very intimate kind of month, not just for this sign, to be fair. It seems to be that way, and it's going to be that way. It's 2022. It's the year of the lovers. That's exactly what the lovers represents. That looking at myself and accepting myself, all aspects of my experiences, etc. Understanding the impact they've had, etc. That's what the year is about anyway. So it's no wonder that we're getting all this type of stuff in January, for not just your sign, a lot of the signs. King of Pentacles. So again, this energy of security and discovering the truth of yourself, discovering one's own. I'm just telling you what's coming into my head now. Discovering one's own, to thine own self be true. I'm having a bit of shit. Hey, I get to do Shakespeare today. It's like I'm loving it. To thine own self be true. And in a sense, again, no matter what the discomfort is, sometimes we just have to look at it and face up to it. Because, as I said to Taurus, I told them straight. I said, you avoid the pain. Do you feel stronger? You avoid the things that make you feel weak. Do you feel stronger? No, you don't. So this is what we're all realising. Not just you, we're all realising it, and you're definitely realising it. And it's giving you strength and helping you feel strengthened and secure. Let's move. I'll come back to see. So I just want to turn these over before I kind of run out of time. Okay, before I run out of time. So, just in case I do run out of time. So, the King of Pentacles is that kind of solidity and strength and security. And it's showing that what's beneath the surface, what's driving these experiences, which may seem confusing, which may seem confronting, which may seem intense, because that's what, you know, to be fully aware of oneself is intense, right? To be fully aware of mindfulness, that's what mindfulness means, full awareness, right? So to be fully aware of oneself is confronting. It is like, you know, I don't want to look, but I need to see and I need to understand, because if we're actually weakened by avoiding ourselves. When we include more of ourselves, we're stronger. There's more of us. There's more to stand up. There's more strength. There's more pulling in the same direction. And so we move into February, end of January, beginning of February here with the 5 of Wands. And this is that friction of looking at myself, of questioning myself, of asking the whys and the wheres. And you have this sweet, sweet, sweet energy of the 6 of Cups as well, which is 5, 6, 7. Oh, you got 5, 6, 7 there. Look, 5 of Swords, 6, 7. So when we see numbers graduating like that, that just basically means that you're taking steps to make steps through progress, steps along a path. You are obviously on this path, if you will, of discovering this intimate truth about yourself and acceptance of self, and kind of looking at who you are, what this specifically looking at this trauma, so this heartbreak. This heart doesn't mean a relationship necessarily, it could be for you, but you'll know what it is. It could be a job, it could be a letdown, it could be your parents, it could be anything, I don't know. But whatever this was that's already happened, you're looking in January at what this is and why this was and how it affected you and what it made you feel and what it made you think and how it affects your actions and how it affects your beliefs till to this day. That's what you're doing in January. And it's a healing process, and one that's actually going to bring about security and release and change in your life. As you move end of January into February, what we see is this, in a sense, acute kind of awareness with the Five of Wands, an acute awareness, a level, your discomfort is raising, because what happens is, in a sense, that might be where you'd find and discover the thing that has been forgotten. Actually, it might be end of the month, end of January, beginning of February, and into February, because this is a card I love. I dream in tarot cards sometimes, and this is one of my favorite places to go. They're all so nice there, and it's so warm, and they're so, you feel so safe. And so there's this energy. I'm feeling that sanctuary for you. There's a space in your head that you can go, in your imagination that you can go, or in reality that you can go, a memory that you have, or you might find a book or whatever, music or whatever. But there's something that helps you to feel safe, secure, protected in and throughout this kind of smoke and fog of learning about oneself, of becoming more aware of yourself, of becoming more aware of the impact of your experiences, what impact does that have on your thinking? What impact does that have on what I do and what I create? What impact does that have on my motivation with the Wand energy? So you're going through that, and that is literally the process of awakening, if you want to call it that, or spiritual growth, if you want to call it that. But it's actually the releasing, the understanding of the recognition of attachment, and then the releasing of attachment, or the transformation of those attachments, which we see here. But there's a space, a place, a sanctuary that you have, that within this and throughout this, that you can go where you feel comforted and supported. It could be that this is meditation, that you do some meditation, or that you join my new channel, Key Minds, and you there'll be no tantras on it actually, but there'll be some tantras from March, but not from Feb. But anyway, I digress. The point is, there's a sanctuary that you have, and it's within you, really. It's within you. You will know what that is. That sanctuary is for you. A little bit of confusion, I've described the fog, etc. But ultimately, you do not take your eyes off the prize. You do not take your eyes off your emotions with the Queen of Cups. You keep focused on how you're feeling, on what you're experiencing, on what your emotional world is doing. You keep focused on it, no matter how confusing it gets, no matter how challenging. It's not that challenging, it's confronting, really. It's not there's no major arcanas that, we've got all the major arcana healing. These are minor arcanas. It just means that, it might be a bit uncomfortable, but you're not gonna turn away from it. You're gonna be focused on your emotional self, on your intimate self, and you're gonna pay attention, and you're gonna become more aware, and you're gonna learn, and you're gonna heal, and you're gonna feel strengthened, and ultimately that is what 2022 is about anyway. I might do a little 2022 reading, but that's what it's about anyway, because it's lovers, and love is about acceptance. So, my darling, learn to love yourself, learn to listen to yourself. That's what the month of January is about. And I think, to be fair, Scorpio, I'm getting a sense that that's probably what your year's about. Your year's probably about learning to love yourself. And that's not just something you can do by repeating a mantra. That can be a start. This is what I used to say, I am worthy of love, I am capable of love, I love me. Hang on, there was another one. I can't remember. I wrote it down myself because I used to say it to myself. I am worthy of love. I am capable of love. I am something else. I love me. I used to say that to myself because it was like, I didn't believe that. And it's like, you're gonna you start, that's your journey for 2022, to actually learn to love yourself. You start with the mantras, but then you actually have to, in order to, you've got to realize why you don't love yourself. You've got to realize what love actually is. What do you actually mean by love? And this is the type of questions and the type of activity that you'll be engaging with in this year of 2022 and in the month of January. But what you gain from it is not only healing, but it's security and abundance and true love. Okay, my darlings, I hope you like that reading. Scorpio, I'm wishing you a wonderful festive season. I will see you all again back in January, around the 21st, with your brand new reading, Scorpio. And keep an eye out over Christmas and into January for new Key Minds videos. That's my new brand, my mindfulness brand, which is coming very, very soon. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So keep an eye out. Subscribe when you can to Key Minds as well when I launch, when I do my soft launch in a few days or weeks. Okay, my darling, have a wonderful festive season, and I will see you all again, Scorpio, in January with your brand new readings. Take care, my darlings. Bye.